electricity. It's a kind of drone that undercurrents everything. It's full of subtlety and it's full of nuances and it's really active and it's really present. We're in this incredible kind of energetic exchange with the upper atmosphere. We live in an absolute sea of energy. We've got all these machines running at all these different speeds, producing these incredible magnetic fields, and you can move in on those magnetic fields and listen to them. And as time's gone on, I've become more and more and more manipulating those sounds. Because I think when you're just a vehicle for them, they just simply are what they are. The satellite sound is the satellite sound. So my process has been, in fact, to let go of the origins of the sound.
It's a very revealing form, potentially, and in that sense very, I don't know, potentially very honest. Even though you have all these skills and all these things that you've developed, you're still getting up there feeling like, well, this could go disastrously wrong. Ironically, the mistrust is misplaced, because when I look back consistently, you come up with usually great little moments, you know, which really, when you look at it statistically, you're coming up with a much more intense level of performance and music or whatever, theatre, than a lot of other more structured musics do. Tourette syndrome from the age of 7, and all the sort of complexities that go with that, and particularly when it's not diagnosed until you're 38. So there are sort of learning problems, and one of the sort of fundamental ones for me was a very crucial one to musicians, and that's hearing. Being able to sort of sustain or have that basic fundamental capacities to sort of hear and play, you know, in your head play. For me, that's always been a really bad editing job right from the beginning. From a musician's point of view, that sounds like a sort of, you know, let's not go there. That's sort of a bit sort of dodgy thing to talk about. But from my point of view, it's been a hugely influential thing because it's guided me into finding a music that allowed me to have these great benefits of Tourette syndrome, where you sort of such quick response thing, and the twitching when you're performing becomes part of the whole gestural thing, and it's such a quick condition in itself that this music that I've evolved, it allows, for me, this perfect kind of platform for that. I just think humour in itself is one of the most bloody serious things in life. Things to be taken seriously, if you like, because it's so important for so many reasons. We're cutting through so much stuff and surviving, really. That's the other thing. I mean, the audience have such a huge effect on what really comes out. I think, I mean, I guess you can say that about a lot of music, but particularly with this, and particularly what I'm doing. I mean, they play such a big role. They don't know that. I don't think they really appreciate that until it's sort of halfway into it, or whether they appreciate it, I don't know, but will realise that. But from my point of view, they really play a big part in how I end up playing, you know.
Almost immediately, we just realised we had a very similar way of thinking about things. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think... Hiaz is not a very verbal man. And so, strangely enough, we actually don't talk about anything. We just go and do large-scale projects together. And we spend a lot of time together. But we kind of just sit in the room and do stuff for hours without actually ever communicating any intent. Me and my little analog feral sort of low-tech means, and he and his silicon sort of binary high-tech means are somehow involved in a similar process. It's kind of like a whole study in breakdown. and reconstitution, and trying to look at how far we can really take a record and break it down and build it up again.
You can see with Martin that through being so physical, he's able to influence his instrument a lot, and I'm forced to have a different approach because my computer is actually not producing any hiccups or strange noises when I hit him or something. So I have to find other ways of playing my instrument. So one of the things I'm working with is trying to get digitized data from different sources and using this data to make music. And there are different possibilities to do that. So one of the options is to use information traveling on the internet or in a network to produce music.
I have to say, like in his Austrian or Austrian Germanic way, he has these really, I mean, it's very admirable. He has these really kind of large-scale ambitions to essay issues and projects using digital technology. Cultural memory and atomization, reconstitution, and somehow it goes into my whole obsession with genes and gene splicing and mutations, and it all becomes rolling into one big sort of essay on the whole biological and social atomization of society. I have to say, without he, as I'm just kind of a musician. I just make music.
I was working with a lot of dancers in the late 60s as a cinematographer, and then I used like dance elements in my own performance pieces, but it got too cumbersome to do that, and I also began to feel that there was too much sort of artificiality to dance, and I was interested to find people, to look at people moving very naturally. So I decided to do this series of films, which I thought was going to last for a short period of time, like 3 years, in which people are working, doing everyday tasks for them, and which I look at very plainly and usually for quite long periods of time. So it's the opposite of television documentaries, for instance. The shots are long. There's no sequences. I don't ask people to stop and go back and do the same thing again. And frequently I would shoot something of one person doing something in one shot, and then the next shot would be somebody doing something completely different. And that's exactly the intention I had, that there's no sequences, there's no development. It doesn't look at the process of the work itself, It really looks at the way people are moving when they're doing something which is a very natural movement for them, something that they don't rehearse and don't think about as being choreography, for instance. At the same time, the music uses very long tones. It gets rid of a lot of what people consider to be musical language. There's no rhythm, there's no melody, there's no typical harmonic structure in it. It just goes on for a long time, and it's very thick textured. It works with some physical properties when you place two tones that are very close together in pitch, sounding at the same time, it causes a lot of sum and difference tones, beats and different harmonic things happening. So when you make a lot of tones that are close together in pitch, sounding at the same time, it makes a lot of big mess of that, so that's good. Normally in performance I'm showing more than one image at the same time, and the music is also in a performance situation quite loud and really fills the space, so part of it is to actually fill the space. So I would say turn your sound up as much as you can on the TV when you're listening to the music which will accompany the films.